Hi, my name is Jay, and this is my first live stream, which is kind of crazy. So go easy on me, or don't. That's fine. Let me just check. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I was just like, yeah, I'm really live. Okay. So today is like a very light getting ready with me. I hope in the future to do more getting ready with me where I talk about just like topics that I think could be helpful or useful. I guess a little bit more about me. I worked as a personal trainer for a while. I've always really been into like health and fitness since I was like a kid. And then I worked as a personal trainer for a while, then like health coach because I realized nutrition was really important, and that got me into like more of like the scheduling aspect of how important it is. Like planning is a lot of how you stay healthy too. And then, just the older you get and the more life experience you get, you start to understand just like the role of everything, right? All dimensions of your life and dimensions of society and money, and how all of that creates a healthy person society, everything, or an unhealthy person society. And I will be heading to medical school this summer, which is exciting. But that's all just to say I love health, I love well-being. That's why this channel, and it's dedicated to it in all its different forms. And so much of, lifestyle and lifestyle medicine, which is what I'm interested in, is just figuring out, you know, what to do with your life, and handling the challenges and obstacles. So I thought I would start with, like I said, very light getting ready with me. I'm going to work soon, and at work I get kind of sweaty. Like, it's fine if I put on a little bit of makeup, but I'll definitely do ones where I have a lot of like the colored eyeliners, which I haven't used yet. I got a pack of those that I want to try out. So we'll see how this goes. I don't think I've ever um, done this live, but again, this is practice. Everyone's practicing. Um, this is just a primer, so I make sure I'm just doing probably an eyeliner and mascara today. So this is a primer. Make sure everything holds. Okay, main topic that I wanted to discuss that I thought was really prominent in the online space, especially. I think it's really, of course, it's very sad that people are getting laid off. That's really tragic, but I love how much community it's inspired and how free people feel to come on and just be very real about what's happening to them. And I suspect a lot of that has to do with the really large numbers that it's happening in. So, given all this turmoil, I don't know a person that isn't affected by some sort of layoff, whether it's in like the private sector, whether it's in the government, now that we have, totally new administration, lots of changes, lots of shakeups, and it's always jarring. I think that's what surprised me the most. So, my company, it's really interesting because I was already like, okay, this isn't really what I want to do. I'm on my way out. Like, I had things figured out, and still it was shocking when you get the notice that, it's like, you don't work here as of like 2 hours from now. No matter how prepared you are, no matter if you saw it coming, a lot of people are like, oh, I suspected it. Even, for weeks, it's like, there's changes up in, I don't know what it is, but it's just always shocking initially. And I think, let me know why you think it's shocking, even if, you kind of hear things down the pipeline, or maybe you're already on your way out, so it doesn't matter as much, or isn't as a disruptive a change. But I think it's because, when you work, at least in most places, you're scheduling things out for a long time. You have these relationships, no matter how good or bad they are usually long-standing relationships. The longer you've been there, you have routines, sometimes set for years, and it's like one day they're like, you don't have that. You don't have the routine. You don't have, those relationships probably. You still, I'm sure you can talk to whoever you want to, but I think that's also where you find out where, the relationships was just work. I think that was jarring to a lot of people I talked to and to myself. You find out, like, were we just coworkers, or are we friends outside of this? Do we still talk? Like, how I think it just exposes a lot. So I think no matter what, it is just like a bombshell. It is. So I think the initial shock is something that is common, and I think pretty much everyone feels. So I feel like you go through the stages of grief almost, that denial, sometimes bargaining, like, is there a way this could, just all the way down, sometimes depression, hopefully not, but it's very understandable. It breaks my heart to watch all these people, just really weep, losing these jobs, even jobs they haven't had for a long time, but I get it. I think sometimes it's even worse when you just get it, because maybe you got yourself something nice as like a reward. Maybe it's like a job you really wanted and finally got. Like, there's a lot of hope and enthusiasm that comes with a new job versus, like, when you've been in something. I think there's different challenges just depending on where you are in the stage. It's sad all around. And then the best phase, of course, at the end is when you get to acceptance. So I I liken it to the things you would do to get over like a breakup in a healthy way are probably the best things to do in this situation. It is a breakup. It is a breakup. It's so weird to think like that you have a relationship with a business or a company, but you do. Life is mostly relationships when you think about it. You have a relationship to your parents, your mom, your school, your site. Like, you relate to things, and so they are breaking up with you. They're breaking up with you, and sometimes you didn't want that. You didn't want or plan for them to break up with you, and they want their stuff back. A lot of times they really want their stuff back. Okay, let's see how this goes, you guys. I don't know why. I do have like this a more reliable mirror than the one I'm looking at, or this camera, but I said I was going to do a getting ready with me, so that's what I'm going to do. Work is going to take me however I look. Okay. This is ridiculous. Okay. So I'm going to be rude and kind of look away when I'm doing this eyeliner sometimes, but we'll make it work. Just notes on the setup. So, what was I saying? Yeah, it's like a breakup, especially the exchanging of stuff. It's like you have company equipment sometimes, and they want that back. Understandably, but still, it's like the whole process, because it isn't just one event. I think what people are finding out is that it is an entire process. It's like very emotionally distraught. It can be really traumatic. I think it is one of the most professionally traumatic things that can happen to you, just period. So if you feel awful for a while, like you were broken up with, very normal. I think super expected. Okay, I'm satisfied. Okay, we'll do the other eye now. Not bad. Okay, so I can tell you a little bit about what helped me, and then I'll also be real about what I think hurt me, that I also did, and that other people did. And again, feel free to share your experiences below, of what helped you get over it, of how you felt, how you're doing now, and I will too. So okay, let me kind of. Okay. So what helped me? Loved ones. Definitely other people, other friends just really caring about you. And, you remember Because sometimes, not sometimes, for most of us, work is most of your day. It's like a ton of your interactions. It might be what you think about when you get off work, which is, can be kind of unhealthy. It's good to, especially if you like just love your job, that's great. But if you can't let go, for a lot of us, work is really consuming, especially if it's very stressful. Um, and which is why sometimes I think like losing your job can be a good event. It's We sometimes don't realize how much we were suffering until we're maybe pushed out of the situation. So I think a lot of layoffs are blessings in disguise and ways that you are just being pushed into something better for you. That's randomly kind of even. I'll get better mirror setup, but I'm okay with that. Just okay. I promise the evolution of this will be me with a dedicated setup and um, doing really cool eyeliner. I do want to get back into all the makeup stuff I used to do. I think it's so fun. I need to replace a bunch of my palettes. So actually, if you do have any, I'm not up to date with like all of the best makeup palettes now. I have, like Huda Beauty. I think that's the one I have. If they're still putting out good palettes, so if you have any good like mid range, or I know Clean Makeup Beauty, like clean makeup, one that's free of some of the more harmful chemicals is getting popular. So feel free to turn me on to that too. Um, okay, so where was I? What the things that helped? Loved ones. I think so. It's kind of two sides of the same coin, even though they sound opposite. I think both things that helped are really feeling my feelings and self reflecting, as well as distractions, right? Because now you have a ton of time on your hands that you did not plan to have. So it does not feel like a vacation. It really doesn't, especially if other people are working and doing okay. Sometimes if it's like, oh, a bunch of us and now we're all like, I think that's a better situation. But especially if you're remote and kind of on your own and maybe disconnected from other relationships, that can just be tough. So finding constructive ways to really sort through what happened, give yourself time to process it and your brain to adjust to a new normal. But then also include some time to get out of the house. I went on a lot of walks. I feel like I got pretty healthy afterwards. I already love walks and being outside and just like enjoying nature, but now you have hours to do that. So if that's something that's close and you're able to do, or even if you live in a city and you can just find some time to just explore parts that you haven't been to, ways to use up your time in really constructive ways. I feel like that doesn't look too bad. Like I said, extremely simple. I'll clean it up a little bit more later, but I do want to get through this because I don't want it to be too long and you have to sit through a lot to get through this information. So, distractions as well as self-reflecting. And when you self-reflect, so I'm glad that I did a part of the self-reflecting right before. That's how I knew that I wanted to go in the first place. It's like you want to self-reflect on your strengths, your weaknesses. Um, Luckily, like I said, I had time to do this before, but if you're doing this after, there's no correct order, but strengths, weaknesses, what you enjoy doing, what you're good at. If you already have past experiences, that helps. Um, if you're young, it's just about getting experience. Follow what is interesting to you and what makes money, and then from there you can kind of tweak, right? If you have more experience under your belt, it's thinking back to where did I get like positive feedback? Where did I feel really useful? And like I was contributing. Anyway, all of these things, you now have time to think about that, which is cool. You have time to think about even just balance, like what you want out of life, how you want work to fit into life, what your future goals are. You can even think about like retirement goals, which seems really far off, but genuinely you should be thinking about pretty early. But yeah, tons of time for that, and then time for distraction. So a little bit of both. I am making a video on self-reflecting and like introspection and like the importance of that, what it can do for you. So if you're still at this point, feel free to like, subscribe, and tune in to whenever I do submit that video. But I'll probably also just like do a live, because I think you really do have so many internal tools to create a fulfilling life, built in. You just have to sit and really acquire the skill of accessing it, right? All this, everything that you need to do to be happy and successful. So, okay, so money also. What helped was, it always just helps to have money. I know this is like, like it feels obvious, but I think this could also be a good awakening for people who kind of just, it's okay if you just weren't paying attention to money. I think it's very easy to just kind of get money and then just do whatever with it. But now you see it can be a very important resource, not only for buying things you want and need, but helping you in really difficult situations, and having reserves so that you're only stressing about the emotional stuff and not also stressing about housing and about, necessities, and having that like really lowered quality of life. That's never fun, and it's okay if you have to tighten the belt. That's just what you do. Even heading into school, and when I went back to school to apply to medical school, it's like sometimes you have to do what you have to do when you can't work because of any reason, layoff, school, maybe a kid, change in circumstance at all. So I think money management I don't just think, I won't get into it, but research is clear on like the tie between money and health. So I know we can't always control everything, but as much as you can, having just like stocking away just a little bit of extra reserve, seeing where you can be a little bit more disciplined, will make this a better experience. And if you're struggling now because of a layoff, like, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad if you have to move back home. Don't feel bad if you have to stay with, like, whatever you have to do, because you're going to find a new thing, like, it'll be okay, and then you can take this lesson with you. So that kind of moves into my next thing that I did that really helped, was just like figuring out a path forward right now. It's like, okay, give yourself a little bit of time. It can be more depending again on your financial runway, or whether like if you have other dependents but really after a while go, I can still feel not great about this. I cannot understand what's happening. This is tough, but I'm just going to move on anyway. Like, I need to figure this out. Maybe I need to get another job. And it can be any job. I know, you hear about people being laid off for long periods of time. And I get it. You want a certain kind of job, but sometimes you just have to take what you can get, what will bring you money. And it can feel really beneath you. I think especially the more years under your belt and experience, it's like, so it can feel really demeaning to have to take something you think is below the job you're capable of doing. But I think sometimes life gives us some really great lessons in humility. And, personally speaking, like I go back to serving whenever I just like, in between summers, or, like right after like the layoff. Okay. So it's never feel too good for any job is what I'm saying, no matter what heights you reach, no matter what, like jobs are there to make money, and you're not better or worse than another person doing that job. If you need the money, then you need the money, and it's okay. So I actually think this is a really great way of like breaking down those class, like, I think once you move into a certain like professional job or like a class, like there is like a feeling that there are certain jobs that are just like not for you. So hopefully this will get rid of that for you. Yes, you can do other things, but you can do this because you need the money. So do what you have to do. Don't drown because of pride. That would be, just don't do it, right? And then just for the next time, let this lesson, let yourself learn this lesson and have reserves, maybe live even more below your means, so you don't have to jump into something that you don't like that much right away. So some things that I did that definitely hurt my progress was dwelling. So kind of like how introspection is like really thinking about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. Dwelling is just kind of like stewing and self-pitying and thinking about like, why me? And, ugh, that, sucks. And those are normal to feel. But when you just have that on loop, it just makes you feel worse and can hinder your growth and your progress. So, try to catch yourself when you do it. I know you can slip into it really easily, especially when you're not feeling good. So do your best to avoid that. So being like self-punishing, I think it is good to be really honest with yourself and to really go like, okay, so there were layoffs. Was it like a whole department was getting rid of? Like, do I think the plan was there? Or like, was it performance? Was it maybe a group maybe we as a group were, maybe I knew it was coming because I wasn't putting something in. It was probably a mix of a bunch of things. Politics, like, it is good to think about those things, but then after a while, just set it down and be like, okay, well, it happened, and I'll extract as much wisdom as I can from it, but let's keep going. Let's keep going. I think numbing behaviors, that's probably the worst one. There's difference between distractions, right? Like, okay, let me go outside. Maybe I'll catch up with more people. I think that's probably one of the best things that happened when I just had more time. It can be a very confusing, very upsetting time, but then like time, right? It's not a vacation. You're doing other things. Like sometimes you're scrambling even, but you can reconnect with people that maybe you couldn't, and maybe now that you're more free you can do something for someone, right? Like someone needs their kids watched for a few days, like, well, I'm free, maybe that's how you can earn money. Maybe you can start getting really creative with it. But if you're doing numbing behaviors instead, those tend to isolate you, right, and make you feel worse, and of course are bad for your body. So drinking too much, even things that are fine like sleeping, but like sleeping too much, that can indicate you have like other problems that you really should be addressing. If you just don't feel like getting up or rotting in your bed, it's not healthy. TV, screens, I think it's easy to get addicted to screens when you have more time than you need, which is understandable, but still it's just not healthy. So as much as you can, I think contact with other people who are good and understanding, and making sure your distractions are healthy. So a good way to do is like, is my body better for this? Do I feel better after doing this? Do I feel like my attention is being taken off and either being placed on helping others, enjoying the outside, rediscovering nature or something? Or am I just trying to make the thoughts that are hurting me go away with substances, with mind-numbing gaming, TV, whatever? I think deep down, like, the difference. So, check that out. And then just like some ultimate lessons. The ultimate lessons, I think, I sprinkled some in between. And like I said, now I in my opinion, everyone that I've currently talked to, whether it happened pretty quickly or over time, in my family, my friends who have been let go suddenly, they are in much better places and they have better perspective. But it really does depend on how you recover and how the process of moving forward. Because I'm sure I'm just, maybe not in contact with people who haven't recovered, who are not doing well still. And that can be its own cycle, which is why I'm like very adamant that you just do your absolute best to stay healthy and keep healthy habits. It could be in time to reinvest, right? Learn more about taking care of yourself and working out. You don't even need a gym to work out. I know working out at a gym is very popular, but you can be outside and squats, crunch, like burpees, running. If your knees can't take the running, you can get a bike pretty inexpensively. You know, you don't have to get necessarily the super elite pro bikes. I'm getting a little off topic, but really I can't emphasize enough how much where you end up is how you deal with the challenge in front of you. So, some ultimate lessons, it is just like, you got to figure it out. I know like things are hard. You'll be okay if you just like figure it out and don't isolate. Try to get other people to help you. Try to be vulnerable. It's really hard because it can feel embarrassing. It can feel really embarrassing. I think that's a primary emotion. And like, oh, what will people think of me? My status is different. Push through it, you know? You'd be surprised how much more people respond to that vulnerability. You know, get honest with yourself. Yeah, see like how you can in the future be a better worker, maybe a more present worker, maybe more check-ins, like show more engagement. Maybe there are things that you did that put you on the chopping block. Let's just be real. Like, but there could, again, a lot of what's happening now, that's why it's in mass, is just shifting movements in the market, just like a bunch of things happening at higher levels that you might not ever be privy to. So really like, yeah, get honest with yourself. You can even reach out to former managers if that's appropriate. Sometimes they have these canned responses or like HR, like you, so you can't get any, they'll just tell you, oh, you know, it's whatever generic reason, but without much more information. So just do your best and then just move on without closure. Like I said, sometimes like a breakup, it's about moving on with no closure. And I think it'll also teach you a big lesson is to be really flexible and adaptable, especially in just this modern climate. And, you know, life is about change. The better you can tolerate change, the better that better time you'll have because life is change. Life is change. So keep learning, keep swimming. You'll be all right. And like I said, I really do think that many times you're being pushed into something. So it's not comfortable to be pushed at all, especially when you're not expecting it. But I think you'll be really proud of yourself when you're when you're on the other side of this. So just keep going. All right. So that is this was a very light, I don't even know if I should call it a getting ready with me, but yeah, first stream. So if you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you always know when I'm coming on. I really enjoy doing these, so definitely more in the future. You can always suggest topics, but really this channel is for everything lifestyle. So health and lifestyle is really what I'm interested in, how to help all of us kind of live better. And a lot of that has to do with how we face challenges. You know, I think that's probably some of the biggest, you know, determiners of whether we get through something or not. Our attitudes, what we do, life planning, our health when we tackle things, how to keep our health up, you know. So, okay.